What if I told you that Shakespeare's rise wasn't just about genius, but about plague, politics, and penny-paying groundlings? In this video, we uncover the real forces that made Elizabethan drama explode, and why it still matters today. If you love history, theater, or hidden stories behind the classics, hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a deep dive from our channel. The rise of public theater as the leading form of entertainment during the course of the 16th century was fueled by a confluence of profound religious, political, economic, and demographic shifts that occurred in England, particularly in London, starting in the mid-1500s. These factors created a commercial model for professional drama, replacing older forms of traditional performance. A primary precondition for the emergence of the secular public stage was the destruction of the traditional religious drama. For centuries, the main staple of English drama consisted of miracle or mystery cycles, that is, dramatizations of biblical stories organized by trade guilds in major towns and cities. The Protestant Reformation, particularly after the reign of King Edward VI, systematically destroyed these plays. Protestant theology prohibited the veneration of the Virgin Mary and saints and regarded the theatrical representation of God or sacraments as a form of idolatry. This resulted in the cessation of cycles like the Chester Mystery Plays and the Coventry Mystery Plays. The proscription of religious cycle plays meant that the emerging theater of Shakespeare's era was altogether secular. Where the old religious drama reminded audiences that they were under God's watchful eye, the new Elizabethan drama focused instead on people in relationship with one another and with society. The break from the Roman Catholic Church also spurred a perceived need to buttress the English nation by proving the dignity of the English language and native culture. Drama was viewed by patrons like Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, as instrumental in flying the flag for English traditions, so no saints on stage. No biblical pageants, just raw human drama. Sound familiar? That's because Shakespeare's world was the first cancel culture, but for saints. Comment below. Which modern show or movie do you think captures that same shift from sacred to secular storytelling? The transition from traveling players performing in makeshift venues to companies performing in permanent playhouses was driven by entrepreneurial effort and the establishment of a new commercial structure. The key figures were entrepreneurs like James Burbage and Philip Henslowe, who utilized the methods of early capitalism, raising loans and manipulating leases, to finance purpose-built theater buildings. Burbage, an actor and joiner, realized the potential offered by London's massive population expansion. The theatrical establishment found its start with the Red Lion in Stepney, 1567, built by John Braine, followed by Burbage's The Theatre in Shoreditch, 1576. The creation of these fixed structures, analogous to ancient Roman theaters, was recognized immediately as a landmark innovation. The critical innovation was the requirement that spectators pay at the door before seeing the show, establishing the box office. This significantly changed the relationship between entertainers and customers. Prices were tiered: a penny to stand in the yard, the groundlings, a second penny for a seat in the galleries, and more for cushioned seats in gentlemen's rooms. Public playhouses functioning as businesses by charging an entrance fee were innovations in late 16th century England. This commercial basis provided a more certain income than the vagaries of aristocratic patrons alone. Later, through the formation of joint stock companies like the Lord Chamberlain's men in 1594, actors and writers, like Shakespeare himself, could become shareholders, turning playmaking into a potentially rewarding profession capable of supporting a family. Think of James Burbage as the Elon Musk of Elizabethan theater. Except his startup was the theater, and his IPO was shares in the Lord Chamberlain's men. Fun fact, for just 1 penny, less than a loaf of bread, you could stand in the yard and watch Hamlet live. Want more surprising facts like this? Subscribe. Hit the bell. Share this with a friend who thinks Shakespeare is boring. The sheer magnitude of London's population expansion provided the necessary mass audience for the commercial enterprise to thrive. London's population increased rapidly, rising from approximately 60,000 in 1520 to 100,000 by 1560, and further to about 220,000 by Queen Elizabeth's death in 1603. This growth made the commercial success of permanent playhouses possible. Londoners were hungry for amusement. The large open amphitheaters could hold 2,000 or more spectators. To survive economically, companies needed to induce large numbers of people to form a habit of coming repeatedly, which necessitated a constantly changing repertoire. The public theaters attracted a socially mixed audience, ranging from lowly apprentices, soldiers, and the proletariat to sophisticated inns of courtmen and aristocrats. The court and law students were among the most enthusiastic patrons. This diversity mandated that the plays appeal to a broad range of tastes. The need for constant novelty created an enormous appetite for new plays. This circumstance, coupled with an impressively widespread growth in literacy and a highly educated intellectual class seeking career options outside the church or law, contributed to the emergence of highly gifted professional playwrights, such as Marlowe, Greene, Lyly, and others, known as the university wits. London's population tripled in 80 years, and with it came a hunger for drama that spoke to everyone: apprentices, lawyers, nobles, even spies. Yes, Marlowe was one. Quick poll for you. Would you rather A. Stand in the yard as a groundling for 1 penny? B. Sit in a cushioned gentleman's room for 6 pence? Drop your choice in the comments. We'll reveal the most popular answer in our next video. The theater's establishment was precarious, navigating between state protection and moral opposition. The City of London, dominated by Puritan-leaning figures who habitually associated plays with unchastity and sedition, was an inveterate enemy of the players. To escape the jurisdiction of the city fathers and the moralistic administration of the city, public playhouses were built in the liberties on the margins of London, such as Shoreditch, Southwark, and Bankside. This made the area a center of entertainment, often grouped with brothels and blood sports. Actors needed protection to operate, as they were often viewed as rogues, vagabonds, and sturdy beggars by Elizabethan law. Queen Elizabeth allowed traveling players to perform, provided their plays were pre-licensed by local officials and did not handle matters of religion or of the governance of the estate. The protection afforded by the monarch and her court was crucial for the theater's survival, consistently overriding the city's objections. The powers of the Master of the Revels, a court official, were expanded in 1581 to license and censor all plays, tragedies, comedies, or shows. This control, while a form of state censorship, also provided a structured opportunity for companies to have their repertoire auditioned for court performance. The legal pretense was that all public performances were merely rehearsals for playing at court. Although plays were censored against dealing directly with religion or governance, the theater became one of the few places, alongside the church, where the public gathered to be informed, provoked, and think about great political and religious issues. The structure of power in Elizabethan theatricality allowed the drama to be relentlessly subversive while remaining contained, providing a space to confront the image of monarchs and show kings and queens as ordinary mortals. Courtiers and gentlemen were highly interested in plays as mirrors of contemporary politics. Theaters were banned from the City of London, so they popped up next to bear-baiting pits and brothels. Shakespeare didn't just write plays. He ran a rebel business under the Queen's protection. Here's the twist. Censorship didn't silence the stage. It made playwrights smarter. They hid political critique in history plays and ghostly prophecies. If you're fascinated by how art thrives under pressure, smash that like button. It tells YouTube this content matters. And if you're studying literature, history, or performance, subscribe to the channel to learn more about Elizabethan drama. In summary, the 16th century created an ideal environment where the cultural need for secular, popular entertainment, driven by the dissolution of religious drama, met the commercial opportunity presented by massive urban growth and entrepreneurial innovation in London, all while operating under the tenuous but necessary protection of court patronage, strategically positioned outside rigid city control. So yes, Shakespeare was brilliant, but without urban growth, capitalist hustle, religious upheaval, and royal loopholes, we might never have heard of him. This is why we don't just read Shakespeare here. We reconstruct his world. Comment your favorite subversive Shakespeare moment. Like if you learned something new. Subscribe and tap the bell for more myth-busting literary history. Share to spark a conversation. Don't miss the next video. We'll talk about the other forms of entertainment available to a Londoner back then. Until then.